Friends, if I could have your attention. In just a few moments, we are going to begin the service for Erin M. Weinstein. Just as a gentle reminder, if you happen to have a cell phone or any noise-making device, please take a moment to turn it on silent. On behalf of the family, I'd like to welcome everyone for coming out this morning, and also to those who are joining us via the live stream. Officiating this morning's service will be Rabbi Brad Rosen of Poetic, Chicago, and featuring cantorial soloists Leah Shoshana and Adam Gottlieb. One more time, there was Rabbi Brad Rosen of Poetic, Chicago, and cantorial soloist Leah Shoshana and Adam Gottlieb. We'll begin with the rabbi.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, dayan ha'emet. Blessed are you, eternal our God, source of all worlds, source of our truth. Adonai natan, va'Adonai lakach, yehi shem Adonai mevorach. Nivarech et mayan adei ad, mefakeh ma'agal ha'chayim, ha'meimit u'mechayeh. Let us bless the well, eternally giving, the cycle of life, ever dying, ever living. We've gathered together this morning as family, as friends, as comrades, to express our sacred sorrow. We have come together to draw strength from one another and from the source of all strength. We have come together to affirm comfort and blessing in the face of deepest loss. We have come together to bid farewell to Erin Weinstein. We share a common prayer that the source of healing sustain those who grieve. May those who have been wounded with loss be blessed with love and compassion. We pray that the journey that lays ahead lead from darkness to light, as it is written. Thus says the source of hope, I will respond to your yearning. When you call out to me in the night, I will answer. I will be with you even in the darkest of places. I will give you strength. I will nourish you, and you shall know protection beneath the shelter of my wings. Baruch ma'avir afela umevi ora. Blessed is the one who removes the darkness and brings light, V'nomar, and we say, Amen. From Psalm 23, this poetic rendering. Though I am pursued by my desires, I lack for nothing. You shepherd me past all want. You take me through lush pastures. You bathe me in still waters and replenish my spirit. You guide me into wide open vistas and lead me through valleys of deepest darkness. My steps fall sure and true. You set my life before me as a sumptuous banquet. I feast on your goodness and am filled to overflowing. Even when hunger grips my soul, I know you are near, coaxing me back, drawing me close, beckoning me home. And these words from the book of Kohelet, the biblical book of Ecclesiastes, we learn. Dor holech v'dor ba v'ha'aretz le'olam omaret. V'zarach hashemesh uva hashemesh. Ve'el mekomo sho'ef zoreach hu sham. Holech el darom, sovev el tzafon, sovev holech haruach. Va'al svivotav shov haruach. Kol hanichalim hochim el hayam ve'hayam einenu maleh. El makom she'anichalim holchim, sham hem shovim lalachet. A generation goes, a generation comes, but the earth remains forever. The sun rises, the sun sets and glides back to where it rises again. Southward blowing, turning northward, ever turning blows the wind. On its rounds, the wind returns. All streams flow into the sea, but the sea is never full. To the place from which they flow, there they will flow back again. We are all here together, both here physically in this room and those who are joining us from many places around the country, and many people who are no longer with us. We are gathered together because we love Erin. And there's something profound, I think, in this act of gathering together, because Erin was many things, but she was, in many fundamental ways, someone who gathered people together. She, as we will hear, was an expert organizer, but in the deepest sense of the word. She loved people, she cultivated relationships, she helped people to become better in her very quiet but skilled and insistent way. She knew how to create community in the best sense of the word. And it's at times like this that we need community the most, and I think Erin would agree with that. And though it is enormously painful to have to gather together to say goodbye to Erin in this way, we also know that we're not completely doing that. We are here to evoke her presence. We are here to celebrate her spirit. And we are here to pledge to her and to one another that we will carry that spirit forward. That is, at its essence, at its root, the sacred purpose of our gathering together today. And there will be more opportunities to do this in the future. But for now, we're very, very blessed and honored to hear words from people who loved Erin and who Erin loved, who were part of her family and her community, who will share their own thoughts and memories and sense of deep connection and love to Erin for us today, so that we can conjure our own and celebrate our own connection to who Erin was to so many of us. We'll hear from a number of speakers. We'll have the opportunity to celebrate her spirit through music as well, as we knew she wanted. We'll invite up first her dear life partner and husband, Kenzo.
Thank you all so much for coming. I'm not shocked that the room filled up for Erin. Erin was a very easy person to fall in love with, and I did. We were together for 13 years, 10 years married, and she was not only just an easy person to fall in love with, but she fell in love with, I don't want to say everyone, but most people that she encountered, and even people that were not easy to love. She found ways to show them love and have them feel seen and important. And, it's almost like the organizing work was secondary, because she was just so good at that, at getting people to find their own value and to love themselves and to, be a better version of themselves. And it's not that she pushed people, she lit a spark in people that allowed them to kind of fulfill purpose and feel her love in life. And so I'm very grateful to have everyone here, and very honored that everyone, I'm looking around the room and I could probably tell you how Erin has touched everyone's life in here in some positive way. Of course, there's Judah over there, our son, who's been very brave, and but also, thanks to Erin, he's also very expressive about how he's feeling about things as well. So he's not kind of holding back. He's expressing his emotions, but he's also being brave and continuing to play guitar and play Minecraft and do all the things that brings him joy, and ways in which he connects with other people. And I really do think that was something that Erin set a great example for. So yeah, I'm not sure exactly what else to add, but thank you all so much for being here for us and to remember Erin.
Erin's stepbrother, Stephen.
Hi, everyone. My name is Stephen Blumenthal, and along with my younger brother, Jeffrey, we are Erin's stepbrothers. Many of you may know, before I even came into the picture, Erin already had a little brother named Steve, and she was not shy to take on the role as big sister for me as well. She embraced me as her family from the moment that I met her, just as she did with so many of you here today. I treasured the one-on-one time that I got to spend with Erin, especially during my senior year in college. Erin spent a significant amount of time in central Illinois for work, and lucky for me, I was often able to meet her at one of the very few vegetarian restaurants that she was able to find. Since I had recently become a vegetarian myself, Erin had taken it upon herself to teach me everything that there was about living a vegetarian lifestyle. Erin was excited that there was another vegetarian in the family, and she was not going to leave me to my own devices. She shared and taught me all of her favorite recipes, and during these cooking lessons, Erin always took the time to catch up on whatever was going on in my life, no matter how trivial. When Erin was speaking with you, you were the only person in the world that mattered to her. As I got older and moved to Chicago, and Erin had Judah, she was not short on advice, yet again, to prepare me for having children of my own. One night, I headed over to Erin's house for my seemingly bi-monthly breakdown over my dating life, and to hear some of her always sage advice. Also, I really wanted to be the cool uncle, so I grabbed a jumbo-sized bag of M&Ms for Judah to eat after dinner. But as Erin was making dinner, I decided to sneak Judah the entire bag of M&Ms. And as everyone here knows, Erin and Judah are as thick as thieves. So he ran right to her to tell her exactly what I had done. And here comes Erin's lesson in parenting. Kids who have sugar that late at night really do bounce off the walls. So, in only a way that Erin could, she told me that I was going to stay with them until Judah came down from the sugar high. And as I ran around chasing after Judah, trying to wrangle him into a bath, Erin sat back, relaxed on the couch, and laughed as she saw the lesson set in. As natural as a big sister as Erin was, she was an even more natural mom. She lovingly instilled the love of learning, of being a good friend, and the perfect way to throw a water balloon at Grandma and Grandpa to get them as wet as possible. Erin showed me what true devotion to your children looks like. I'll never forget a little over 9 years ago, as Erin and Kenzo were preparing to welcome Judah into the world. I stood in their living room, huffing and puffing from filling up an inflatable pool, and then dragging a hose up and down the hallway to fill it up with water for the planned at-home birth. And Erin was beaming from ear to ear. Maybe because I was the one doing all the work, but really because she was about to become a mom. Judah, your mommy's love for you is unique, it is unwavering, and it will never be matched. I know that she is no longer here, but she will always be proud of you and love you more than anything else. And me, along with everyone here today, are committed to making sure that you know how truly special your mommy is and how much she loves you. Thank you.
During our service of tribute and celebration of Erin this morning, we'll hear two musical pieces in her honor, played for us by our cantorial soloists, Leah and Adam. I'd like to invite them up now for the first.
Hi. The first song that we're going to do is called Bread and Roses. And this is in honor of the commitment to activism that involves both joy and sustenance, which Erin believed in. reflections, 1,000 mil loves gray are touched with all the radiance that a sudden sun discloses. For the people hear us singing, bread and roses, bread and roses. As we go marching, marching, we battle to for men, for they are women's children, and we mother them again. Our lives shall not be sweated from birth until life closes. Hearts starve as well as bodies. Give us bread, but give us roses. As we go marching, marching, unnumbered women dead go crying through our singing their ancient call for bread, small art and love and beauty, their trudging spirits new. Yes, it is bread we fight for, but we fight for roses too. As we go marching, marching, we sound the greater call. The rising of the women means the rising of us all. No more the drudge and idler, tend the toil where one reposes, but a sharing of life's glories, bread and roses, bread and roses. Our lives shall not be sweated from birth until life closes. Hearts starve as well as bodies. Give us bread, but give us roses.
We're going to hear now from a few of Erin's very dear friends. We invite up first Rabbi Shelley Goldman.
I first met Erin at summer camp when we were 15. A committed high school debater, she was the first person I'd ever met who didn't want to be the President of the United States, but wanted to push him to do the right thing on matters of policy. Erin was confident, smart, and beautiful. She had a warm smile, striking eyes, and was a joy to watch as she danced on the basketball courts on Friday nights. Being a part of Habonim is to be instantly enveloped into a community in the best and most powerful sense of that word. We grew up together. We spent summers at camp and organized activities for the younger kids in the city during the winter months. I remember an epic movie night at Erin's mom's house and a February pool party at a very hot and over-chlorinated college pool near my house. We went to Israel together for a summer and then a year, and kept in touch all through college, visiting each other's campuses and spending summers and winter breaks engaged in Habonim activities. We were friends as we each fell in love for the first time and dated boys and girls. We celebrated each other's birthdays and unfortunately went to funerals for other friends who died far too young. We went to eat at vegetarian restaurants with Sandy and Burl. Erin never wanted to talk about the difficulties in her own life, but she was a great listener for others. She would listen, comment, and then move you to a happier place with a joke and a laugh. I once called her in tears, angry with my dad. She immediately dubbed him Captain Patriarch, and that is how she referred to him until the very end. Erin's mom, Judy, died in the fall when we were 23 years old. I had just graduated college and was largely unemployed until Erin actually helped get me a job at her mom's yoga community. Erin had taken some time off to be with her mom and then had to wait until the new semester started in January. I remember her calling often on Saturday nights and inviting herself over to the apartment that I shared with Maddie and Mariana. She didn't want to talk through her grief. She rather wanted to eat burritos from our neighborhood spot and have a sleepover in an apartment full of people. I remember her being so happy when she met Kenzo, someone as passionate and fierce as she was about social justice and making the world a better place. I loved dancing at their wedding and celebrating with them when Judah was born. I will forever carry with me the image of Kenzo frying latke after latke at a Hanukkah party at their apartment for tzedek families, while Erin served up mac and cheese to the kids and organized a dreidel-making activity out of marshmallows and chocolate-covered pretzels. I also loved being at family camp with Erin. I remember being so proud to present her with my own son for her to hold and love on as we sat on the grass. I am so glad that Erin was able to be there one last time this past summer with Kenzo and Judah. Judah swam the lake with me and Hannah, while Erin stood on a paddleboard and rowed herself the 20 minutes across the lake and then the 20 minutes back. I'm heartbroken for the years and experiences that we will not get to enjoy together. I am heartbroken for all of our friends' kids who she will never get to meet and never get to hold. But I am hopeful. I am hopeful that I will get to keep feeling Erin's spirit around me, keeping her sparkle alive as I celebrate life's joys with Kenzo and Judah and watch Judah grow up. Erin, my friend, I will miss you very, very much.
Erin's dear friends, Maddie and Colin.
We're so honored to be able to speak in front of you all today. Erin has been a dear friend to me for over 2 decades. In fact, it was Shelley who introduced us. When I think about Erin, I think about how joyful she was. She just radiated her joy and warmth to everyone she came in contact with. And I know all of you have felt this from her. Her joy really shone through in all of the fun times we had together. Her birthday was always an excuse for getting a bunch of people together to have a blast. And particularly remembering the canoe trips we took. These involved less canoeing than you might think and more floating in the sun with adult beverages. She would check in with everyone regularly to make sure they were having a great time. Erin brought people together and really valued everyone she got a chance to know. In fact, Erin was the one who introduced Colin and I. She prided herself on being Colin's personal matchmaker. Colin and Erin became close during their union organizing days, and he'll say a little about that.
So I met Erin on one of my first days as an intern for AFSCME. When I returned several months later as an employee, I was paired with her to teach me the ropes. And I spent many, many hours riding around in her baby blue Taurus through the streets of Chicago. There were so many laughs, there were so many long lunches, there was terrible diners and brilliant Italian restaurants. And what I'm always going to appreciate and remember is her ability to connect with people of different backgrounds and life experiences. I think that every person in this room could speak to Erin's kindness and genuine concern for others, and I remember that. But what I take away most from my days working with her and as her friend for the past decade is her steadfast sense of social justice and her calm commitment to empowering others to do what they didn't think themselves capable of. That was true whether she was working with nurses on the Resurrection Campaign or helping lead a months-long strike for Heartland Alliance workers in downstate Effingham. She cared about people and about workers, even when they didn't care back, and I'm gonna miss that.
Erin enjoyed and treasured every moment of life, all the small pleasures. I really also treasure the time we've had over the past few months to be in nature. We went to the beach, we went to the forest preserve, we went to Winnemac Park. She always stopped to admire the beautiful fall leaves and to identify flowers we passed and just listen to the waves. And she always talked about even just the small little things that Judah did too, and just appreciating every single little thing that she did, and she would tell me all about it. I think that she really knew how much love she was surrounded by throughout her illness, and I hope we all continue to feel the love, passion, kindness, and warmth that Erin put into the world for a long, long time.
We'll hear now from Erin's dear friend, Kristen.
Erin was a community builder always. She had a gift for bringing new people into her circles. Once she'd drawn you in, she made you feel valuable and powerful, and she helped you understand why your voice mattered. She made her communities not just bigger and more inclusive, but more loving and more just. Erin was brave and tenacious, and she had a way of making those around her feel braver too. She was so cool under pressure. When she found out about a research study for cancer patients that she didn't qualify for because of a paperwork problem, true to form, she talked her way into it. The hospital relented and agreed that yes, the research would be stronger if she participated. She was persistent because she knew she was advocating not just for herself, but for others that the research could help. She always kept a laser focus on who she was fighting for. At our neighborhood school, she organized a picket line story time with children and other parents to support the teachers who had gone on strike. She stood up at a school board meeting to protest budget cuts. She made sure there was a translator at school meetings so that all attendees could be heard. She organized a roster of room parents because she knew there was strength in numbers. She was an advocate for remote learning to keep students and teachers safe during the pandemic. But when she found out about a child struggling with remote learning, she dropped off resources for him with his mom because she was worried about him. And she was so much fun to be around. She made us laugh with her quick-witted observations. She remembered birthdays, brought food to you when you were sick, planned parties, and organized moms groups and play dates. And of course, she delighted in Judah most of all. The first thing I noticed about Erin when I met her was how much she loved to say Judah's name. It was never just my son, it was always my son, Judah. And her face lit up. As he grew, she loved reading with him, making art with him, taking him to parks and to Grandpa's house, and seeing the world through his eyes. I marvel at the impact she had on so many, at the outsized footprint she leaves behind. She had so many ways of stitching us together. She might lend you something, or borrow something, or share food, or ask you to go for a walk. These were her ways of holding us close. We're so lucky to have been a part of Erin's life. We share immeasurable grief, but also the immeasurable good fortune that we knew Erin and she loved us so well.
Her dear friend, Sarah.
You've heard some wonderful words about Erin's life. So now I would like to read a poem for you about what comes next. When Great Trees Fall by Maya Angelou. When great trees fall, rocks on distant hills shudder, lions hunker down in tall grasses, and even elephants lumber after safety. When great trees fall in forests, small things recoil into silence, their senses eroded beyond fear. When great souls die, the air around us becomes light, rare, sterile. We breathe briefly. Our eyes briefly see with a hurtful clarity. Our memory, suddenly sharpened, examines, gnaws on kind words unsaid, promised walks never taken. Great souls die, and our reality, bound to them, takes leave of us. Our souls, dependent upon their nurture, now shrink, wizened. Our minds, formed and informed by their radiance, fall away. We are not so much maddened as reduced to the unutterable ignorance of dark, cold caves. And when great souls die, after a period, peace blooms, slowly, and always irregularly. Spaces fill with a kind of soothing, electric vibration, our senses restored, never to be the same, whisper to us, they existed. They existed. We can be and be better, for they existed. Right now we are in the cave, my friends, but we are better because we knew Erin. better parents, better friends, better people. May we all live in that legacy. Better, because Erin existed.
I'd like to invite back up Leah and Adam for another song in Erin's honor.
Thank you so much, everyone who's spoken. This is a song by Woody Guthrie called Union Burying Ground. How should we stand here? Why don't you stand next? Listening to everyone speak, it seems like even more of a perfect song than when we chose it just a couple days ago. The last two verses in particular really celebrate this moment for embodying Erin's whole life. And it says, every new grave brings 1,000 members to that union, in that union burying ground. And so I'm just reflecting on, all of the ways that Erin has brought people into community and movement work in the past up till now, embodied in this moment, as well as all the ways that we will continue the work for those of us who knew her, being inspired by her example in the future. They're lowering a right new coffin. I see they're letting down a right new coffin. Way over in that union burying ground. And the new dirt's falling on a right new coffin. The new dirt's falling on a right new coffin. Way over in that union burying ground. Oh, tell me who's that they're letting down. Oh, tell me who's that they're letting down. Way over in that union burying ground. Another union organizer. Another union organizer. Way over in that union burying ground. A union brother and a union sister. A union brother and a union sister. Way over in that union burying ground. A union father and a union mother. A union father and a union mother. Way over in that union burying ground. Well, I'm gonna sleep in a union coffin. Yes, I'm gonna sleep in a union coffin. Way over in that union burying ground. and every new grave brings 1,000 new ones. Yes, every new grave brings 1,000 members. Way over in that union, burying ground. Yes, every new grave brings 1,000 brothers, and every new grave brings 1,000 sisters to that union, in that union, burying ground.
I'd like to invite up now Erin's father-in-law, Kenji. You want to speak?
Before I say something, I speak broken English, so I don't know if people understand. I only can say how Erin was a brave person. We can not predict our lifetime. Some people live longer than 100. Some people have short lifetime. It happened to Erin. Erin was a remarkable person who knew relationship with others was important in her life. She made many good friends, enjoyed conversation and activities with them. She was active and cherished person. She involved school activity to support school when needed. I'd like to share with you about her biggest action. When Kenzo was teacher union representative, he made a speech and attended a demonstration several times in downtown Chicago. She had a biggest heart. I mean that Erin carried a little baby that was a Judah Ichiro to take a bus and train to get downtown to cheer Kenzo and the teachers. She had a big heart. I respect her thought and activities. Erin was a big fighter facing this to live. We could not read her mind how painful it was, how Erin was brave. Now we don't have to have any pain, sleep good. We miss you. Thank you.
Sandy tells me that when Erin graduated from preschool, she won the award for being, quote, the social conscience of the class. Because, as her teachers explained it, Erin was always asking that her classmates be treated fairly. From this, we learn what we already know, of course, that Erin was a natural advocate for justice and fairness, not just in the abstract sense, but as part of her essential humanity. She cared for those around her, her friends, her family, her comrades, her community. Those of us who knew and loved her know this well. Erin was a natural organizer, advocate, activist, and community builder to her very core because she cared so very deeply about those around her. Sandy also tells me that as a child, Erin was precocious, bright, and fun to be with, someone who made friends easily and kept them for a long time, end quote. No surprise there. Erin clearly came by it honestly. This was a genuinely warm and loving family. Erin was particularly close to her Bubby and Zadie, her paternal grandparents, Samuel and Edith, who would take her and her brother Stephen out every Sunday to lunch and later to the park to play. Her Bubby Edith also taught Erin how to bake challah and make mandel bread, which many of us, I believe, were the beneficiaries over the years. Many of the skills Erin cultivated as a child lasted well into her adulthood. She took flute lessons and continued to play all the way through college. She was quite talented, and even as an adult, Erin played in music groups with her friends for many years. She also played on softball teams when she was very young and loved playing in adult leagues many years later. She went to Hebrew school and had her bat mitzvah at Jewish Reconstructionist congregation in Evanston. And after she graduated from Reed College, she rejoined JRC and became active in the synagogue as an adult, which I can attest almost never happens. That's when I first met Erin. I was their relatively new rabbi at the time. When she returned to JRC, I asked her to speak at our high holiday services because our theme that year was coming home. I became closer to the Weinsteins when I officiated at the funeral of Erin's mother, Judy, of blessed memory. Even during this very sad time, I remember being struck by Erin's innate groundedness, her no-nonsense manner, her wisdom beyond her years. Not long after, Erin would visit me repeatedly in her capacity as a union organizer for AFSCME, enlisting my help in organizing the clergy community for any number of picket lines, rallies, and actions. I believe that first time was the Resurrection Healthcare Campaign. Like many congregational rabbis, I was always busy doing a million things at once, but Erin kept at me in her quiet, relentless way. I actually told her later that she really was my first teacher in the art of organizing. Through her own example, Erin taught me that the heart of organizing is relationship, cultivating real connections with one's community and instilling accountability among the people who belong to it, and enabling the many members of that community, no matter how different they were from one another, to realize their own power. Perhaps most important, Erin taught me that organizing is not only visionary and aspirational, but practical and real. When so many of us were daunted by the challenges before us, Erin was the one who showed us how to get from A to B, put a plan together, then inspire others to invest in it and make it a reality. As we all know, this was not only how Erin did her work, it was how she lived her life. Erin was just the kind of person you wanted on your team because of her smarts, her practical approach, and her love and devotion to those around her. When Erin told me one day that she was engaged to another organizer, or a teacher and a rank and file union member, I should say, I wasn't surprised. Of course, I first got to know Kenzo when we met together to start planning for their wedding. And it was clear to me even then that they saw each other as comrades as well as life partners. And so many of us, I'm sure many of us in this room, have such vivid memories of Erin and Kenzo's wedding. The room was packed with the who's who of the Chicago justice community. There were just so many amazing folks, many of whom I believe are here or watching right now. As those who were there will attest, the joy we felt was not only about the two people getting married, but about one community's deep and joyful commitment to one another. And of course, it was just so much fun. I will never forget the sight of Erin during the processional, literally boogieing down the aisle in her very traditional wedding gown. As we've heard, Erin just loved being a mother, and she was so good at it. She was such a wonderful parent to Judah, and true to form, she instinctively took to the art of creating parent community. She joined the local McPherson School Council and eventually became its president. As a young parent, she organized, participated, and led on any number of local community issues. We've heard about many of them, and I'm sure there are many more we haven't yet heard of. When I started a new congregation, Tzedek Chicago, Erin and Kenzo were among the first to come along and help us build it. Erin was one of our first board members, and I'm not exaggerating when I say she almost single-handedly was responsible for starting our family program. Erin was among the first to say that she knew many families that wanted to educate their children in a Jewish congregational school that reflected their values. And within a very short period of time, Erin became the heart and soul of Tzedek's family community. When Erin received that terrible diagnosis 8 years ago, she met this devastating news with quite quiet courage and grace, handling it the same way she had always lived her life, gathering the community she knew she would need to support her and her family. Despite the grave nature of her illness, Erin focused on what was possible and lived into it. The regular posts she wrote for her Caring Bridge page were such classic Erin. She described the current status of her illness with straightforward honesty. She told us how she was feeling, described her latest course of treatment, explained what her needs were, and how her community might be able to support her family going forward. Then she would put the plan into action and continue to live her life. And that's just what she did for the past 8 years. Erin lived this way with such simple grace and smarts and courage. We sometimes had to remind ourselves that she was actually struggling with a very grave illness. And while I would never understate the terrible challenge she must have faced every single day, it is true that Erin remained as she ever was, enjoying daily life with her family, cultivating relationships that were important to her, living the life of an activist in every sense of the word. And in turn, her community truly showed up for her over these past several years in so many ways. No matter how keenly we are mourning her loss right now, I hope we can gain comfort from this knowledge that the love Erin gave so freely during her life was given right back to her over and over and over again. On this note, I'd like to say to both Kenzo and Judah, we all know how deeply you loved Erin, how much she adored both of you. I speak for everyone here and many who are not when I say that your community will continue to be here for you. We pledge to walk this new journey with you in the coming months and years because, as Erin taught us all, that is what community does. To Sandy, thank you for giving us Erin. When you tell us that Erin was a wonderful daughter, we know without a doubt it was because she was raised in such a wonderful family. And truly, you and Judy and Beryl and the extended family helped ensure that she lived a nourishing life as she grew older. And Sandy and Beryl, you helped ensure that the final weeks of her life were spent surrounded by comfort and love. Please know that so many of us are here for you and your entire family from this day forward. I know there will be many, many opportunities to share our memories of Erin with one another. That was one of the things actually that Erin asked before she died. She wanted her community to have the opportunity to share their own thoughts and memories. For now, I just want to say personally that I am so happy that I was part of Erin's life. That I was so proud to be her rabbi and comrade and friend. Even in the deep sadness of this moment, I feel blessed in knowing that her legacy will live on through the love of so many whose lives she's touched. So let us now honor Erin's memory. Let us honor her memory by cultivating real relationships, building real community, showing up for one another in a myriad of ways, large and small. Let us be no nonsense, practical, compassionate, and authentic. Let us make solid plans and gather the people around us who will make these plans reality. Let us live into the world we know is possible. This is how we will make Erin Weinstein's memory be for a blessing. We all send our deepest blessings of love, comfort, and support to her family, to her life partner, Kenzo, to her beloved son, Judah, to her father, Sandy, to her stepmother, Beryl, her brother, Steve, and her stepbrothers, Steve and Jeffrey, her parents-in-law, Sandra and Kenji, and so many friends and colleagues, community members who are feeling her loss so deeply. To all of them we say, Adonai oz lanu yiten, Adonai yivarecho tanu bashalom. May our source give us strength. May our source grant us peace. And let us say, Amen. Please rise now as you're able for the chanting of El Malei Rachamim, the Jewish memorial prayer.
El Malei Rachamim, Shochen Bamromim, Hamtzeh Menucha Nechona, Tachat Kanfei HaShechina, Bemalot Kidoshim Uteorim Kezor Harakia Mazehirim Lenishmat Arona Bat Shaya v'Yehudit Shalcha le'olama Ana Ba'al harachamim Tastirei b'tzel kenafecha le'olama Utzeror Bitzeror HaChaim et Nishmata Adonai Hu Nachalata Vayanucha LaShalom Al Mishkava Venomar
El Ma'e Rachamim, O God filled with compassion, whose loving presence ever surrounds us, bring final rest to the soul of Arona Bat Shaya, the Yehudit, Erin Weinstein, who has returned to her source. May the memory of her life shine forth like the brilliance of the skies above, as it brightens our own lives even now. May you, who are the source of all compassion, shelter her beneath the protection of your wings, and bind her soul among the living, that she may rest in peace. V'nomar, and we say, Amen. Let's continue standing as we're able, as we recite Mourner's Kaddish, which you can find on the last page of your booklet. Yitgadol v'yitgadash shemei Rabbah, v'yalma divrach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon uvyomechon uv'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael, ba'agala uv'izman kari v'imru amen. Yehi shmei Rabbah mevorach li'olam u'lalmei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal shmei dekudesha barichu. Le'ela min kol berchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiran bi'alma v'imru amen. Yehi shlama Rabbah min shemaya v'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'al kol yoshvei tevel v'imru amen. Please be seated.
Friends, this does conclude our service here in the chapel. Interment will take place in the springtime at the family's plot in West Lawn Cemetery. The family will be sitting Shiva at the Shabbat Weinstein residence, 4726 North Winchester Avenue, Unit E. That'll be Wednesday evening and Thursday evening, 4:30 to 6 p.m. Memorial contributions in Erin's memory can be sent to Judah's 529 College Fund at Bright Start. That information is available whether you pay through the P.O. Box or with a check or with electronic transfer of funds. That information is on our folder. And for those of you who are viewing online, that information, along with the links, are on the website. On behalf of the family, I want to again thank everybody for joining us, especially this morning with all the weather we've been having, as well as those for joining online. On that note, because of the conditions in the parking lot, some people, thankfully we all made it here, but some of the cars are a little close to each other, some are even blocking each other. That's okay, but just in a minute, as we escort the family, I'm going to ask everybody to go right to your cars. At this time, please rise as we escort the family from the chapel.